He's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 175,268. That's the number of pages of federal regulations that are on the books that are breaking down the backs of small businesses, farmers, and families across our entire country. Some of the folks across the aisle may say that there aren't any unnecessary regulations. There aren't regulations that cause an undue burden on families. There may not be any that's outdated. I'll give you a list of a couple that I've came across just in the last couple years. I spoke to some dairy farmers in my congressional district that not too long ago, if they stored more than 1,320 gallons of milk, they had to prepare, according to EPA, the same kind of hazardous spill requirement that these large oil companies do with oil spills. We had the Department of Labor just a few years ago that tried to say whether my nephews or anyone's kids or grandkids could perform common chores on the family farm. We also have the EPA trying to implement ambient air quality standards that are so unrealistic that literally the Mark Twain National Forest in southeast Missouri would be considered in some areas a non-attainment zone. And I can tell you right now, I would rather breathe the oxygen in southeast Missouri than any of the big coast cities on the east or the west side. We've also seen this administration act with the stroke of a pen in trying to implement rules that he could not pass legislation in Congress, such as cap and trade when the Democrats controlled the House in 2010. Now he's trying to implement those environmental policies which would ultimately double and triple the utility rates of people on fixed income in southeast Missouri. We had an issue where the National Park Service implemented a rule saying that a local Baptist church in south central Missouri could not perform their water baptism service along the Current River, an act that they had been doing for decades. But this was a rule that came up. Mr. Speaker, as I have stated, there are multiple rules that I could go on and on that are unnecessary, that's outdated, that's causing a burden on businesses. And this is the opportunity where citizens across the country can come before this commission, can request rules to be seen and to be looked at that would actually make government smaller, more efficient, and accountable. And I'm asking this body to help support the Scrub Act so we can reform government regulation at the federal level like what we've done at the state level when I was there. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back the rest of my time.